Hey you guys, check out this next video with Charlie Kirk. He is confronted by this angry liberal student, but Charlie Kirk knows how to handle him and totally shuts him down. Have a watch.
You embody the worst of this generation, which is, and
are you looking in the mirror?
And I do look in the mirror. You know what I see? I see a sinner that wouldn't act the way you do, which is constantly interrupting, someone that wants to always be, you know, the center of conversation, hyper narcissistic.
This is what I think. I think
attitude,
you're
personality.
You name two times you've changed your mind because of a debate.
I have changed my mind plenty of times.
Give
In
two
fact,
examples.
I used to be anti-death penalty, and now I'm pro-death penalty. I used to be more libertarian on drugs,
but are you
and now I'm less libertarian on drugs.
Do you think
I am very much against abortion.
You're against abortion, even in a case.
Yes, I am.
Aren't
That's
you?
Correct.
Wow, ladies,
Yes.
listen up. If you get raped, you're gonna have to hold their baby.
Okay, but let's ask you. Can I ask you a question? If I had an ultrasound of a baby conceived in, or an ultrasound of a baby conceived in a loving relationship, which one is which?
It doesn't matter. That's
no,
not the
because
context.
human rights do not stop based on the method of conception. Human rights are applied to all.
Wow.
In fact, did you know?
So rapists have more rights than a woman.
Well, actually, do you know that there's
about
someone?
the control of their body?
Do you know that there's someone in this audience?
Than the woman being raped.
There's someone in this audience that was conceived in. Can you tell me who it is?
It doesn't matter.
No, tell me who it is. Because
it doesn't matter. Why? What does that matter?
Because what matters is babies conceived in don't get less human rights just because they were conceived in a nasty, ugly, evil way. Human rights apply to all people.
You're talking about a person versus an unborn fetus.
Oh, so what's the difference between an unborn baby and a person? What is the moral difference?
Well, one is living and breathing.
Well, how is the baby not living in utero? It has a heartbeat.
It would not live without the woman.
Hold on, but my 6-month-old baby won't live without my mom. It won't go hunt and gather for itself. My 10-month-old baby won't hunt and gather for itself. So how's that any different than a 2-month in utero?
It doesn't matter.
Well, hold on. No, answer the question. Answer the question. You used a degree of dependency argument.
Have more rights.
No, I don't. I think that all human beings have rights because they're made in the image of God, and every human being has a right to life and not the right to be exterminated or extinguished.
Every human being has the right to life? You just said you're pro-death penalty. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so, all right, so
it can't be both.
Okay, yes, it can. So
wow, so some lives are more important than others. That's what you're saying?
What did the person that was on death penalty do to get that punishment?
It depends on the crime.
They killed somebody.
No, that's not
if you kill somebody, then your life should be taken from you.
That's not true.
Well,
it's dependent on the crime.
Hold on a second. Show me an instance of somebody who got the death penalty in America.
Don't burden me with the responsibility of educating you.
Show me an instance of somebody who got the death penalty in America the last 30 years that did not commit a capital offense.
I don't need to.
It does not exist. So therefore, a baby in utero did not go kill somebody. Somebody on death row killed somebody.
Yeah,
Are you smart enough or educated enough to see the difference between a baby in utero who did nothing wrong or someone that shut up a school?
Forget the
Do
baby.
you see
the
moral
problem
difference?
is women having control over their own body.
I agree.
That's the issue.
I actually agree. In fact, I agree so much that unborn...
Yeah, especially when you get...
I agree so much that unborn girls in the womb should not be killed because their body should also be respected. If it's not your DNA, it's not your choice. If it's not your DNA, it's not your choice. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll learn something throughout your long life.
Why is this guy yelling and standing there so angry right off the bat? I mean, he didn't even start a conversation with Charlie. And he is just like, I mean, you can see the flames coming out of his body. He's just so mad. He just stands there with so much like judgment and he's ridiculous. But what's even more ridiculous is this is proof that this is what our liberal students are being taught today on how to have a conversation with someone who has a different opinion than you. They're not taught to be calm, to listen, to answer questions or ask questions. This guy is like not even listening to anything Charlie is saying. He is just ready to go to war. That's the word I'm looking for. It looks like he's ready to go to war with Charlie. It's ridiculous that he's okay with himself that way, that he can be himself. I don't know. I don't know. When he asked Charlie to name 2 things where his mind was changed in a debate, when he was having debates, and Charlie's like, he's rattling them off. And did you see, like, after the first one about the death penalty, he goes, figures. I mean, he's not even listening to take in what Charlie's saying. He's listening to judge, to have a response, to have a remark like figures. Then he's really just there for no good. When they started talking about abortion and, so a woman who gets pregnant through non-consensual sex, that should they have the right to that woman should have the right to have an abortion. The thing that, Charlie was just giving him a huge education about what Charlie's point was in there. But the thing that always gets me angry whenever I hear liberals talk about abortion always comes up as the answer. There's never a conversation, at least I never hear it in debates and in dialogue or anything, about the option to to adopt. Why isn't that ever on the table? Because the child that's becoming a child and a breathing human being, did not choose to be in this life from a non-consensual sex situation. So that child should be loved and given the ability to have a life. And adoption is such a beautiful, beautiful idea to have, because there's so many people wanting to adopt. So I understand where Charlie is coming from in saying that that child has the right to live, even if they were, made through non-consensual sex. So he has a point there. But the thing that freaked me out, the last part of this video, is how this guy yelled at Charlie when Charlie started saying how he's for the right to life. And he explained about why he's for the death penalty now. The guy, the way he yelled and saying, how could you be for both? This showed his extreme lack of intelligence. Because if he wasn't so caught up on what his talking points were or what his belief was, if he was more open-minded from everything that Charlie explained about why he is for the death penalty, would it let him know why he is for life and he is for the death penalty? That was like a common sense situation, but this guy was like, almost like he wanted to do a gotcha thing. But his anger that just poured out of his body, his mouth, his eyes, it looked like he was like wanting to kill Charlie. It was totally pathetic. And this is what liberals do. They come up with these blanket type of comments, like when he says, oh, don't bother me with the burden of educating you. That's another way of saying, I know nothing more about what I'm talking about. Charlie, stop asking me more questions because I can't go any deeper than my initial claim to the situation. That's what it's really all about. This guy was pathetic.